Hi and welcome to Excel Plus for all things Excel. Tips, tricks, fun, adding up numbers in a dark room. What could be better than that? Fun with Excel. Who needs to go outside? Right, now when I finished the last tutorial, number 6, we're now up to tutorial 7 in this dashboard. Maybe I'll hit double figures. My waterfall chart was, the axes were redrawing when I clicked on the slicer, but not when I adjusted the comparative here. So if we look at that, it now does. It now redraws nicely. When I flip between prior year, forecast, budget, the reason being right click, assign macro, scale chart needed adding to each button, and that will then force the macro that redraws that to run. I have another way of detecting the slicer, but the buttons need the macro assigning to them individually. So there we go, that's done. Right, let's set up the market view. So we need to put a pivot table on this tab, datasheet, insert, pivot table, existing location, as we've got the tab ready in the download template, and let's put it A1. Let's set that pivot table up. We're going to have the month as a filter, the market, or products, I've just called it market in this case, for the rows, and then year to date, actual, prior year, budget, and forecast. Right, let's quickly format that. Control and 1 number, get rid of the decimal places, put a comma in, and let's change those headings to get rid of all the guff so they're easy to read. I know it seems like a bit of a faff, but it is nice to have everything set up so it's easy to read, because you might be looking at this a few weeks or months after you've created it, and the neater it is, the easier it is to figure out what on earth it was you did. And let's give the pivot table its name as well, market rev. Right, now if you look at this, it's just summing up all of the year-to-date values, so it's giving us a crazy total. So what we need to do is link this slicer to the new pivot table. Right click, pivot table connections, market rev. A slicer can link to any pivot table generated from the same datasheet. So in this case, it's the same set of numbers. This can now drive, there we go, 1029.9, 1029.9. And we don't want grand totals on this. Pivot table options, tools and filters. Let's remove the grand totals. Great, this is exactly what we now need. Oh, we now need a slicer for the geographic regions. Click on the pivot table and options, insert slicer, and this one's going to be on region. Right, so this pivot table now has 2 slices powering it. So let's tidy this up a bit. Slicer settings, get rid of the header, make it a little smaller. We don't need all that size, and let's cut and paste it onto here. So these 2 slices, that one and that one, will now control this data. So we need to put this data in. Now, as we'll see on market revenue, so we just pick United Kingdom, so only 3 products, which is why I removed the grand totals. We don't want them coming through. Asia, just a couple. So we really need to pick up something here that's going to have pick up blank data. So let's start with an if that's blank, let's make it blank, otherwise bring the data through. And of course we want the most important product first, so we'll sort that from largest to smallest, top to bottom. So there we are. It'll bring through the biggest value product first. Now, actual. Now, let's have a look at how I've done it. My original, I've used VLOOKUP and an if error command. Yeah, so basically I want to definitely generate an error so I can have a blank cell if there's no data, and who knows, I could change the order of this. So I've just done a VLOOKUP on the name of the product for both actual and for budget, although the budget is a little separate as I have to choose the correct column. So let's do the VLOOKUP first, and then we'll put it inside an if error command. So and as luck would have it, market rev, aha, I have a named range. So let's do this. VLOOKUP, lookup value, the name we've pulled through from the pivot table, table array. I've given the named range same name as a pivot table. Column index, this is column 2, and wants to be an exact match. Oh, and of course, multiplied by 1,000. We've got the same formatting. Whoa! Look at that. Now, go to United Kingdom. We get some errors. So, put this in an if error command. Value if there's no error, which is what we want there, and the value if there is an error. Let's have the cell blank. Paste that down. Brilliant. So the VLOOKUP is always going to return an error if there's no product there, so then we can just blank off the cell. Superb. Now for the forecast. What I should have done is there we go, made the column static. Now that's just bringing through the same number because it's not column 2. However, we do have a good old radio button parameter, so which, if I'm correct, was called comp. Was it not? And it's going to be that, I'm going to guess, +2. Let's have a look. Is the forecast? Let's have a look. Let's go back to prior year. So let's have a look. Prior year is correct. Forecast 98. Yeah, that's correct. So again, the radio button values which change on the parameters sheet can now sit nicely in that formula, so that adjusts as the parameter based on the radio button adjusts. And we've got it in our if error command. Copy it down, sum it up, no problem at all. And let's have a look. Did I put an if error in here? I did. So again, if we're going to get errors returned, and we want actual minus forecast, and if there is an error, this is all looking great. Let's fill the table out. What's going on there? Oh, why are those centered? Don't really want them centered. Let's get rid of that. And let's get the variance. And again, we'll put an if error command in. there's no error, the variance divided by whatever the comparative is. Otherwise, blank it off. Oh. Divided by. And just copy down the formulas. And there we go. And the radio buttons leap into action. And again, the radio buttons will only show where there is a value. So let's have a look. That compares nicely. 938. Oh, look, everything's right. And there is the market view linked to two separate slices. So we can backtrack through any month and we can see the products, and the products are always sorted smallest to largest in terms of revenue, which is what we want. So we can look straight away at the most important products. Alright, and the next thing we need are the graphs at the bottom, and I believe we're done. So look forward to that in the next tutorial, maybe 1 or 2 tutorials. Again, any comments, queries, problems, you email them to me. I'll see what I can do. Maybe we'll have a future tutorial on them. And you just keep working that Excel. You just work it hard, and then one day you can have as much fun as me when it comes to Excel. Imagine that. Yeah, you just keep on rocking.